Federico Chiesa out of Liverpool's squad to face Galatasaray this week in shock move. Liverpool will take a 21-man squad to Istanbul for their second game in the Champions League, which does not include Federico Chiesa. The 27-year-old was drafted into the Champions League squad following Giovanni Leoni's season-ending ACL injury. But despite such news, he has not been included in manager Arne Slot's side to face Galatasaray. The Athletic journalist James Pearce explained the decision after the announcement, which has confused many Liverpool fans hoping to see the Italian international, who has been in top form as of late. Understand it's a selection decision with Chiesa, no fitness issues, and he's registered to play, having replaced the injured Leoni in the Reds CL squad last Friday. Slot is expected to provide an update on Chiesa's omission when he holds his pre-match press conference at 7 p.m., which should focus on the game on Tuesday night, where summer signings such as Hugo Ekitike and Alexander Isak will feature. Chiesa, who had recorded 2 assists in a man-of-the-match performance against the Saints, scored a late equalizer off the bench against Crystal Palace on Saturday. However, Slot feels like he has enough quality to not include him, which may come back to bite him. Wayne Rooney makes a superstar Hugo Ekitike claim and challenges Alexander Isak at Liverpool. Liverpool supporters are yet to see Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike on the pitch together after their summer arrivals. There has been plenty of discussion over the signing of the 2 center forwards and whether Arne Slot can fit them into the same team. After Isak played almost a full game against Crystal Palace on Sunday, it feels unlikely that Slot will pick the Swede to start at Galatasaray on Tuesday. With Ekitike fresh from a weekend rest following his midweek sending off, the Frenchman will likely get the nod, with Isak perhaps emerging from the bench. Ideally, Liverpool fans would like to see the 2 strikers paired together at some point soon to get a glimpse of how things could work moving forward. There is a chance that it will be one or the other for Slot, though. And while Isak may have the upper hand in some respects, Premier League legend Wayne Rooney has outlined why he'd actually pick Ekitike instead. Wayne Rooney backing Hugo Ekitike over Alexander Isak. Because of Isak failing to have any kind of preseason with Newcastle this summer, it has so far looked as though Slot is planning to rotate these 2 players. However, when the 26-year-old is fully up to speed, he will surely be expecting to start virtually every game. Having been signed for a big fee and had a great start to his Liverpool career, Ekitike may also feel the same way. And according to Rooney, the former Eintracht Frankfurt star should have the shirt for now. "I think the sending off to Ekitike was bigger than people think," he told the Wayne Rooney Show. "I think he's a superstar. He can affect Liverpool in so many different ways. Obviously, they've got Isak, but I think that loss was massive. Ekitike 1,000,000% is in competition with Isak," Rooney later added. "You've got a real competition between 2 forwards who are slightly different. Who wants it more? Who's going to score? Who's going to create? Right now, I would put Ekitike in there. Isak has proven in the Premier League that he can do that, but he has to prove he can do it at Anfield. It's different, completely different. Playing in front of that crowd, the history, the atmosphere, the pressure. Ekitike has taken it quite quickly. Everything I've seen at the moment, Isak hasn't been able to do that so quickly. I'm sure when he gets fit, that will change." How Liverpool can play with both Isak and Ekitike. Although there is a feeling from the outside that Slot will be choosing one of these 2 players as his regular starter and the other as a substitute, we're not sure it's quite so straightforward. Having spent huge money on Isak and Ekitike, as well as Florian Wirtz, we think the Liverpool head coach still wants to get all 3 players in the team together. In our opinion, this can be achieved by lining up with a 4-pronged attack of Wirtz starting from the left, Ekitike and Isak more centrally, and Mohamed Salah on the right. Wirtz can then drift infield as Ekitike or Isak drift out, always leaving 2 players centrally and 1 on either wing. Once Isak is fully up to speed, we're certain that Slot will put whatever plan he has into action. Bayern Munich respond to Liverpool's Michael Olise transfer interest with contract stance. Latest Liverpool transfer news and gossip, with an update on the future of Bayern Munich star and former Crystal Palace winger Michael Olise, who has been linked with the Reds. Michael Olise of Bayern Munich. Liverpool have been given a fresh update on the future of Bayern Munich star Michael Olise. The Reds have previously been credited with an interest in signing the France international, with reported interest emerging during the summer transfer window. It was a busy summer for Liverpool, with 8 new signings being added to Arne Slot's squad. The Reds spent more than £400 million on new signings, but also sanctioned the exits of some key players, including Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz, Jarell Quansah, and Kamhin Kelleher. The final days of the transfer window saw Liverpool linked with a move for Olise, and the rumors are yet to diminish, even with the new year still more than 3 months away. Now, a fresh update has emerged claiming that the Reds may still be in the running to sign Olise. Bundesliga expert Christian Falk has reported to his CF Bayern Insider column that Liverpool are watching Olise and are joined by Manchester City in expressing an interest in the former Crystal Palace star. There is a suggestion that Bayern are determined to award Olise a new contract in order to fend off interest from rival clubs. It's yet to be known what price tag Bayern would demand for Olise, but it has been suggested that an offer in the region of €100 million, £87 million, could force the Bundesliga giants to make a decision. Olise has scored 4 goals and the same number of assists for Bayern across the first 8 appearances of the season. Liverpool will have to wait until January to strengthen their squad with any more new signings. A new center-back has been mentioned in reports as a priority piece of business for the Reds following the injury to Giovanni Leoni. Arne Slot faces major Hugo Ekitike decision as Liverpool consider defensive overhaul. Liverpool are next up against Galatasaray in the Champions League, with Arne Slot facing some selection posers. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot. Liverpool were on the receiving end of late drama this time when they were beaten 2-1 at Crystal Palace on Saturday afternoon in the Premier League. Ismaila Sarr put the Londoners ahead early on, and although substitute Federico Chiesa equalized in the 87th minute, Eddie Nketiah notched deep into an elongated additional period to send the Reds tumbling to their first top-flight loss of the campaign. Arne Slot's side now face another major test of their Champions League credentials when they travel to Turkey to take on Galatasaray on Tuesday evening. Indoor, and here we look ahead to the changes Slot could make when his team are next in action. Konate concern. There has been plentiful rotation from Slot in recent weeks, and that is likely to continue again as Liverpool prepare for a second of 3 away games inside 8 days. Right back has proven something of a problem position, with neither Connor Bradley nor Jeremy Frimpong having properly staked a claim for a regular start. Dominik Szoboszlai has arguably been the best in the role this campaign when playing out of position, while Joe Gomez is another option. Gomez is also an alternative at center-back, with Ibrahima Konate having struggled at Palace alongside skipper Virgil van Dijk. Wataru Endo could also feature in defense over the coming months with Giovanni Leoni now out for the season. At left-back, Milos Kerkez has edged ahead of Andy Robertson once more, although the latter has started Liverpool's 2 midweek games so far this campaign, including when scoring in the Champions League opener against Atletico Madrid. Alisson Becker demonstrated against Palace why he is the world's best goalkeeper, with Georgi Mamardashvili ahead of Freddie Woodman as the Brazilian's deputy. Wirtz decision. Slot attempted a different midfield approach at the weekend, with Florian Wirtz operating in a free role before returning to his recognized number 10 position after halftime. It seems unlikely the Liverpool boss will veer from his regular 4-2-3-1 in Istanbul, but Wirtz will be under pressure from both Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones for a start, although he impressed against Atletico a fortnight ago. Szoboszlai, Jones and Endo are also alternatives to Alexis Mac Allister, alongside Ryan Gravenberch at the base of the midfield, with the Argentina international still struggling to regain full sharpness after injury. Teenager Trey Nyoni started the League Cup win over Southampton last midweek and is likely to be among the substitutes. Gakpo back? With Hugo Ekitike back from suspension and Federico Chiesa now part of the Champions League squad, Slot has a decision to make over who leads the attack, with Alexander Isak having got through 84 minutes on Saturday. Chiesa is also an alternative to Mohamed Salah on the right after the Egyptian had a rare shocker against Palace. Cody Gakpo will be pressing for a recall on the left flank, with 17-year-old Rio Namoha once again getting minutes from the bench at the weekend. Jadon Danns, though, is out having suffered an injury when playing for the Under-21s at the weekend. Micah Richards admits Liverpool player is starting to worry him. It was a day to forget for many of Liverpool's players against Crystal Palace, But one in particular has got former Manchester City defender Micah Richards worried. Former Manchester City defender Micah Richards has spoken about Ibrahima Konate. Micah Richards has admitted Ibrahima Konate's form is worrying him after the Liverpool defender's poor performance against Crystal Palace. Konate endured a torrid afternoon during the Reds' 2-1 defeat at Selhurst Park on Saturday, with the 26-year-old making a number of mistakes that could have played his side into more trouble had Alisson Becker not produced a string of superb saves. The Frenchman struggled against his compatriot Jean-Philippe Mateta and was left walking a tightrope after picking up a yellow card for clumsily hauling the Palace striker to the floor, with his second-half substitution feeling inevitable before it eventually arrived. Although he was far from the only Liverpool player to underperform in London, it was the latest in a line of concerning performances from Konate. The defender struggled in the Reds' opening few games and came under criticism from Jamie Carragher, among others. Konate had improved in recent outings, in particular against Arsenal, but Saturday's poor showing has once again raised questions. Konate is starting to worry me a little bit, former Manchester City defender Richards said on the BBC's Match of the Day. Ibrahima Konate struggled against Crystal Palace. Him and Van Dijk have been a good partnership, but his individual errors at this moment in time are just making the backline look a bit nervy. You know, Liverpool always look good in defense. Van Dijk always marshals the backline, but they give Palace too many opportunities for no actual reason. It was just being sloppy, and that is so unlike Liverpool. The questions over Konate's performances come as speculation continues over a move to Real Madrid next summer. His contract at Anfield is due to expire at the end of the current season, and talks over a new deal have stalled this year, raising the possibility that he could leave as a free agent. Konate has responded to supporters this season amid the backlash over his performances, having replied to one fan account earlier this month. The problem is some of you forget too quick, only after 2 games. Liverpool.com says, Konate needs to be doing his talking on the pitch rather than social media. It's no good pointing to your past performances when you are playing as poorly as he did against Palace. If those sorts of displays continue, then the backlash from supporters is only going to grow, especially with no sign of a new contract. It's up to Konate to change that opinion, and he's not doing that at the moment. Alexis Mac Allister sends disappointing message to Liverpool fans after Arnslot fitness update. Alexis Mac Allister took to social media after Liverpool's defeat to Crystal Palace on Saturday. Alexis Mac Allister of Liverpool applauds the fans following the Premier League match between Crystal Palace and Liverpool at Selhurst Park. Alexis Mac Allister has urged Liverpool supporters to stay positive after the Reds suffered their first Premier League defeat of the season away at Crystal Palace. Federico Chiesa had appeared to rescue a share of the spoils for Arne Slot's men with an 87th-minute equalizer, only for Eddie Nketiah to then net a 97th-minute winner for the Eagles. Despite the 2-1 loss, Liverpool remain clear at the top of the table. They boast a 3-point lead over second-place Palace, though Arsenal will leapfrog the Eagles into second and reduce the Reds' advantage to 2 points if they beat Newcastle United on Sunday. Mac Allister started in midfield at Selhurst Park, completing 65 minutes before being replaced by Curtis Jones. The Argentina international has admitted it was a disappointing defeat against in-form Crystal Palace, with Liverpool, not for the first time, not at their best. But the 26-year-old has called for positivity as he looked ahead to the Reds' trip to Galatasaray on Tuesday night. Disappointing afternoon, he admitted on Instagram. Time to analyze, rest and go again on Tuesday. Long season ahead, so let's keep positive and go for it. Mac Allister is one of a number of players yet to hit top form for Liverpool as he continues to build his way back up after long-term injury. The Argentine saw out the final month of last season after helping the Reds win the Premier League title, and was ultimately sidelined for the best part of 3 months before making his pre-season return at the end of July. He has made 7 appearances for Liverpool so far this season and has started all 5 of his Premier League outings. But he has failed to last longer than 65 minutes since missing the Reds' trip to Newcastle United through injury last month. Forget Konate. Liverpool's £125 million striker goes missing in Palace defeat. Liverpool's unbeaten run is over. A last-gasp Eddie Nketiah strike sealed Crystal Palace's 2-1 win at Selhurst Park, leaving Arne Slot fuming. Fans pointed fingers at Ibrahima Konate, but it was Alexander Isak who truly vanished. The £125 million man managed just 19 touches in 84 minutes, fewer than anyone on the pitch. Even Alisson touched the ball more. Isak fluffed a golden chance to equalize, while Cody Gakpo's introduction did little to trouble Dean Henderson. Without suspended Hugo Ekitike, Slot had no choice but to keep Isak on. But patience is running thin. It's not just Isak. Florian Wirtz is also struggling to justify his £116 million price tag, looking lost on the left wing. Liverpool's £241 million duo are quickly becoming a problem, and the pressure is piling on Slot.